Yo, I've been seeing this idea floating around for a while now, and it brings up a great question. Will Luffy get a Nika weapon in the future? But before we get into it, if you like chill, cool One Piece content, think about giving us a like or a sub. It's greatly appreciated as we are on our road to 1K. Join the Cold City. Now, me personally, when it comes to the idea of Luffy using a weapon, it's not something totally new. Luffy is a straight up genius when it comes to battle, and he's always been great at improvising using weapons sometimes. Like, think about when he used Arlong teeth, or even when he used the sword in Wano. He didn't really use it. The thing about Luffy is, instead of actually having a weapon, most times he opts to turn his body into the actual weapon. Think about the Gum Gum pistol, Gum Gum rocket, all of that. He usually just turns himself into the actual weapon. But that begs to ask the question, what if he actually get a weapon in the future? Maybe a Nika weapon. This makes me think about the guy who was the strongest man in the verse in my opinion besides Joy Boy, and that's Roger. He had his sword ace. But what really gave me this idea of Luffy having some type of Nika weapon was this. Think about the very first panel of Nika we ever seen. It was in chapter 1018 when Who's Who is explaining Nika to Jinbei. We see Nika carrying a sword and his iconic spear. Now this just gets me thinking, what if that's actually a hint to Luffy using a weapon in the future? We know when it comes to details inside of One Piece, Oda does nothing on accident, and I don't think this is anything new. I could see Luffy maybe creating a powerful weapon using his Devil Fruit after he learns about the Void Century and Joy Boy. Or I can even see them finding some type of ancient tech once they actually get the Raft Tail. Or even I could see Lilith maybe creating something once she gets her hands on maybe some blueprints or something like that of some ancient tech. I've seen Tekken bring up that Luffy might need some type of weapon to maybe defeat the gorosei or Emu, and that might actually be like their weakness. This came from looking up the meaning of Clover's name, which kind of led to some type of old folktale, which was kind of like a story about needing some type of ancient weapon to destroy the bad guy in the end. For me, that just adds more fuel to the flame of Luffy getting a weapon, and I kind of like it at this point. Think about it, it's not like we haven't seen Luffy create objects out of nowhere. He literally turned his hair into glasses. On top of that, we've seen him take a tree and turn it into a full-on baseball bat. Who's to say that he couldn't grab some super rare metal, or maybe some Wapple metal, or maybe even some type of metal that he comes across in Nail Bath and turn into some type of super crazy, outrageous weapon? Something else to note that I think needs to be considered when we talk about Luffy, Nika, Gear 5 is that Gear 5 seems to be very much so incomplete right now. I think if Joy Boy was here, he would have had some type of way to hurt the girl, say 100%. When you think about Gear 5 / Nika, Luffy still thinks this is an extension of the Gum Gum fruit. He doesn't even know it's the Nika model fruit. Right now, Luffy is just fighting off pure instinct and will. He doesn't know the true power and potential of his devil fruit. On a video I did recently about Luffy's next power-up, I kind of likened it to Goku and Ultra Instinct. Before Goku mastered Ultra Instinct, he did some great things and it was amazing, but once he actually got it handled and mastered, it was absolutely night and day. Like, it was no comparison. I could see this being the same exact situation with Gear 5. Once Luffy actually understands what his power is, what it means, what it can actually do, and just the weight that this power holds, I think he's going to be able to go to a completely different level. You got to think, the gorosei did not want Luffy to awaken his devil fruit by any means necessary. There has to be a reason that they really didn't want that to happen. And right now, when they're up against Luffy, they're not scared. And I think that's because they know that he doesn't know what he has, and they know that it's not mastered. For all intents and purposes, they were almost shitting bricks at the thought of Luffy awakening his devil fruit, and there has to be a reason, like there has to. I'm almost 100% positive that the next arc in Elbaf, that's where Luffy is about to get his lore dump on all Nika and Sun God info. Of course, it won't be the Void Century or maybe that much Joy Boy stuff, but I believe they're definitely going to give him the lowdown when it comes to Nika and Sun God and all that. And I think that's going to start getting the wheels turning, because I mean, Luffy, when it comes to learning new information, he's usually not down for it. But I think this, on the other hand, is going to be something that kind of, piques his interest. So far, we haven't seen anything be really able to hurt the gorosei. Now, that might be for a couple reasons. One, I think the most simple and straightforward answer might be, it's simply because they don't have the haki strong enough to hurt them. Like, their haki is not to a high enough caliber to be able to hurt those guys. That makes the most sense canonically, as we know that Luffy and the rest of his guys right now do not have that top tier level of haki. Kaido said it himself. Haki is the difference between strength in the world of One Piece, like true strength. I believe Shanks will probably be able to hurt the gorosei, but maybe not even him. Nah, I'm faking. I think he could. Also, there's a theory that the gorosei aren't even human and they're actually some type of extension of Emo himself. Now, I like this idea too because one, the gorosei talk so bad about humans, it's almost inconceivable that they're humans. Now, I get that they've been alive for hundreds and hundreds of years at this point, and that maybe can skew your view of yourself compared to normal people who live a fraction of what you've lived, but still, they seem like they have never been human a day in their life. They could be some type of demons or manifestations of something of Imu himself. Think about it, we already have a perfect example in the story of One Piece. They could be like the Vegapunk satellites, and he could be like the Stellar Body himself. Also, personally, I kind of thought that they might be like monsters or demons themselves, and they ate some type of human fruit, so that might be why they don't consider themselves humans. Lastly, you might simply need a weapon to destroy him. We know that Joy Boy did use weapons back in the Void Century. I say that because we know he seemingly did use the ancient weapons, and he even wanted them to be passed down from generations. I can see Joy Boy having used some type of weapon during the Void Century when he fought against the 20 Kingdoms. In some way, somehow he ended up losing it before he died, or some way, something like that. Either way you slice it, I think there's a major case for the idea of Luffy getting a weapon somewhere down the line. I think it will actually be pretty cool and sick to see Luffy using a weapon. Not only will that add something new and fresh for our MC in this story that spanned hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of chapters, but I just think overall it will be pretty cool for Luffy. Now, speculating what type of weapon it will be, I definitely think it will be maybe some type of fire-based weapon, maybe some mother flame type of stuff, and that's a whole different can of worms, but yeah, I think Luffy will get a weapon by the end of the series. I mean, now I believe it. But let me know, what are your thoughts? Do you think Luffy will get a weapon end of series? Do you think he'll need a weapon to defeat the gorosei and Imu? Let me know. If you made it this far, I want to thank you for watching, and you know what? I really appreciate it. I mean, I take my time, I do these videos. I love One Piece. I love the community. I just love it all. Thank you. Welcome to the Cold City.